Most listeners, this will come as a surprise. There's going to be some cognitive dissonance here because they're kind of thinking, well, I've been studying this subject for 20 years and I've never heard of these guys. Where did they suddenly come from? And there are a lot of people who will have trouble believing it for that reason.
It's a fair question. Clay and I certainly understand that. But what is interesting is that this particular ET race, again, we say, finds our atmosphere extremely hostile. If you were to interface with them directly and see what they are, what they really are outside of their biosuits, you personally have to be modified to be in their presence.
How modified? Because you've referred to this a few times.
All right, this is something we cannot get into, guys, in terms of the modification. But I will say this, it's very traumatic, okay?
It's a physical modification.
Yes, it has to, in order to survive in their environment, and we hope at some point we can talk about that. But it's very traumatic, and essentially that I'm trying to think what I can say on that. But,
okay. Are you saying Source A himself was modified?
Yes.
Okay.
All the team members in the original TDY were modified.
That would be the TDY basically in June of 2008, and last time we had contact with him was on the 6th of June 2008. We didn't hear from him until the 30th of June 2008.
Hold on one second, guys.
We didn't hear from him until June 30th of 2008. So during the time frame was the first what we say is the TDY.
That's when he was modified, or before that?
I would say probably the second week of June 2008 when the modification took place. All right, let's be specific here. The inter-service team did not know they were going to be modified until the day before they actually went on the ship.
Is this a temporary modification or is it a permanent modification?
Temporary modification.
Is it, in other words, did you see it?
Have I seen the scars? Yes.
Okay, so you know something about the modification, how it altered Source A, for example. You've met with Source A in person since the modification.
We meet with our source on a continuing basis several times a month since 2006.
When he's around.
Yeah, when he's around.
Okay. And why do these beings say they're here?
It's connected to, why specifically? One, it's connected to a program that our guy entered into. Okay, so
it's connected to
he comes into a program under operation, and now he interfaces them. Why, at the end of the day, are they here? Well, they've been here all along. The question, I guess, would be, is why are they initiating this program now? Is that the question?
Is that they who have initiated the disclosure movement, the disclosure program that you're referring to? Is it they who said, okay, guys, it's time to tell the truth about our presence?
All right, that's one of the things that the conformers want from us. If we can use the word want, that's very difficult. You can't read the conformers, first of all, period. Cannot read it. What we're getting from our sources is that we need to come clean about that presence, about the presence, the ET presence on this planet. People need to be educated on that level. It is time.
And that's presumably about the whole shebang, about everything, not just
everything.
them.
Everything, yes. Bill and Carrie.
The reptilians, the Greys, Roswell, the Anunnaki, everybody. Okay.
Everything in terms of what we know about this phenomenon, it has to come out. And once we crack that box, as Robert Dean said, it all comes out. There's no mitigating response to this.
I have to disagree with that. You know, and I have to say that what we are coming across, and I don't know if you've heard our recent statements about, one of our whistleblowers was talking about, you know, Obama possibly going on television and announcing the ET presence is one of the things we were told. That was a possibility or is a possibility. But in essence, it seems to me that the last thing they're going to do is actually reveal the truth of what is really going on with the ETs, meaning if there's disclosure and the powers that be decide to disclose in unison with the help of various ET races, you say everything is going to come out. And I have to say, is what's going to come out, they're not going to talk about, for example, and this is where we get back to the Stephen Greer interview, they're not going to talk about the number of children that are being killed and eaten by certain reptilian races.
Okay. All right. We don't know. We're going to stay with what we know. We don't know about that, okay? Yes, we've heard this. However, let's be very specific with this reptilian race. They don't eat people.
Well, I mean,
how do you know?
At least
the reptilian race that our guy interfaces with.
Yes, this particular sect does not eat people.
Okay,
we know this.
Okay, why do you know this?
Because we can't talk about it.
What does that mean?
Because our source has witnessed it. They don't eat people.
I see. He's in other words, he's witnessed them eating.
Yes, I will say that. Okay,
that's
not a problem. I mean, I want to be, like I said, guys, I want to be very careful.
Well,
here.
I mean, there's no reason to assume that all reptilian races are the same.
Correct, Carrie. I could not agree with you more.
And could you describe physically this particular reptilian race in terms of their physicality and how they look?
Sure. I'll give it to you. All right. The females are 7 feet tall. The males are roughly 8 feet tall. They look like T-Rexes, period. Just bring back the tail. The males have a longer tail, but it's stunted. The females don't really have much of a tail. Stand them upright. Elongate them. Still big legs, okay? Except the snout of the reptilians are not as prominent. They still got those teeth, and our source talks about that all the time. He said the teeth are mesmerizing. Their eyes are on the side, very much like you would see, what was it, Shawn, a gecko or a reptilian, a lizard, that type. Their eyes are red at night. They believe they have infrared capability. They're yellow during the day. They have nodes on the head, which our source thinks can pick up electromagnetic frequencies or anomalies or such means that would be able to detect certain things that we could not detect. Their skin is not oily. It's not scaly. They are very dense, very thick. They're heavy, 750 roughly to 1,000 pounds. Their arms are in proportion to their body. Yes, but let's keep this in mind. Just like a T-Rex, their arms are very much like out in front but longer.
No shoulders.
Yeah, no shoulders per se that they can that our source or the team members could discern. They have 4 fingers, 7 segments to those fingers. They can pick a BB up off the glass like humans could pick up a tennis ball off a floor. Incredibly tool adaptive, incredibly intelligent. They want nothing to do with humans. Their sexual organs, it appears to be inside, very much like a turtle. They are able to sustain 40 Gs. Let's see, anything else?
When threatened, they gurgle?
Yeah, when threatened, they gurgle. That's right.
Where do they
live?
Do they live under the earth, or do they come from another planet?
We only know that they live within the ship that the conformers operate. That's all we know. What our source suspects, if he puts his military hat on, I'm going to preface this, is that he believes that this might have been a rescued species from an ELE.
Extinction level event that happens.
I understand. Do you know whether there is a biological feature that is variable in the species that they regard as an indicator of status?
Okay. What our source has figured out is that there is, I think, from what I remember, the best I could discern is that there's definitely a hierarchy. That you can tell the species apart. We had asked this question. He remembers at one time during the TDY, the first time, that there were 16 different distinct reptilians.
At different spots.
Right, different spots in their body, so you could discern the difference.
You're saying that your source has seen 16 different versions of reptilians?
16 different individuals.
Individuals.
not species. They're all reptilians.
All
but
reptilians.
He was able to discern that there were 16 different
individuals from the same race of reptilians?
Yes, from the same race.
Okay, where did he visit these?
About the individual distinctions between them. Are you able to describe what those spots are and what they look like and anything about them at all? The reason I'm asking this, as you may imagine, is I'm trying to correlate this with some other information I got.
I have not asked our source, I don't believe Shawn has either, about the actual distinct features of spots and where they're located, but he could discern that, though.
Bill, are you hedging towards the question that are they a stratified group of people? Is there a hierarchy, much like Credo Matwa had intimated that there were different tiers of reptilian royalty? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I was told by a source what biological indicators are regarded as defining a higher status individual, and I just was looking for correlation about that.
It would depend on the reptilian race, wouldn't it? Now, in this case, you said there's hierarchy, so obviously there is some distinction. How are they able to tell the difference?
Well, I didn't say that there was a hierarchy. I simply referred to some of the other experiences with reptilians in UFO information that there was a hierarchy. Our guy did not divine any hierarchy.
No, the only time, Shawn, let me clarify that. The only time, and I can't get into this, is that on the feeding process there is a ritual. So we have understood this, that there is some sort of hierarchy, and I want to be very clear, we're not sure, but there appears to be.
Our guy wouldn't elucidate on that.
Are there rituals that have got to do with how human beings approach and interact with these beings? They have to do it in the right way.
Correct. If an ET is threatened,
or the reptilian feels threatened,
right, you're to put your hands on your knees and look up at the reptilian.
It's an act of submission.
Right.
Yep.
And then the reptilian will calm down and stop gurgling.
Yeah, and there are certain protocols that the human beings have to be briefed about, so they don't accidentally make the wrong gesture.
Correct.
Because this has got something to do with their own culture, their own lineage, their own status, conformity, symbols, and so on and so forth. This is all something that needs to be understood before anyone even gets close.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
There is, but you're saying in essence that there seems to be some kind of hierarchy even between these conformers, as you call them, and the reptilians themselves.
It appears that the conformers have some control, or I don't know how much control over the reptilians.
Over this particular race.
Sect.
Okay.
At least a sect.
Well, I'll give you a very specific example. Our guy witnessed an interaction between a conformer and a reptilian. And he noticed that the reptilian got quite agitated. So our guy inquired to the reptilian basically, what's up? And the reptilian said, just do what they tell you to do, and walks away.
So he actually surmised that the conformer was saying, and I remember our source saying this, the conformer kept saying no, 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 no. It's very important, Bill and Carrie, to understand that our source cannot read the conformers whatsoever. It's like talking to a rock. It is talking to a rock. They're a Spock 1,000 times over. So
inscrutable.
Our source's interest, because of that, he can only glean any relationship or the conformers based off his observation of how they interact with each other, if he's been able to see that from conformer to conformer or conformer to reptilian. Or, more importantly, the only thing that who's really interested in on these particular missions is that he's been able to study the reptilians, and he has said to us, God, I wish I had a month with the reptilians because I could write a manual for the behaviors. He said, they are truly, truly fascinating to study. So he's obviously getting more feedback from the reptilians than he will ever get from the. He
also knows that they recognize human beings as individuals because he was recognized by a reptilian.
Okay.
Are the reptilians able to speak? You said a reptilian said something. Do you mean telepathically or do you mean verbally?
Reptilians don't. as far as we know, there's no we've never heard anything from a source about a telepathic communication from reptilian to human. Through the modifications, through the modification, our source can understand the conformers. That means they can still hear the native sounds, such as